Well, good morning and happy Friday, Two Plains Nation. We have booted Brum from the intro video because he sucks ass and he's a little bit boring. So we're going to change it up a little bit, and I'm going to lead us into this shit. We're going to have a good Friday. Here we go. Good morning. Let's get this shit started. We appreciate all of you guys coming back all the time. Really, really, we do. This channel is growing a lot faster than we originally anticipated, and that's because of you guys being awesome. So we appreciate it. So as you're enjoying your Friday morning here, be sure to like, subscribe, comment on this video. Follow us on all of our social media, follow us on all of our social medias, Twitter, Spotify, all that. We're gonna kick this off. It's gonna be a big recruiting video. There's a bunch of kids coming to Norman this weekend and even some next weekend from the 2022 and 23 class. It's going to be a real exciting weekend in Norman. Be sure to follow us on Twitter again, because we are going to be posting updates a lot on there. And with that, I will kick it to Brum. Brum.
Great intro, dude. Good job.
Yeah. I was going to say I need to have a little more energy. All right, here we go. All right, so really just quick. I mean, we've talked about him at length as Jaxson Dart. We don't need to discuss who he is because I think everyone watching this probably has heard of him at this point. Venables has done an at-home visit. He recently visited BYU. I'd imagine we're going to know something this weekend. I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's 50-50 between Ole Miss or maybe now even BYU's coming in. And it seems like he's a little apprehensive about Dylan Gabriel being there. You guys have anything to add? I mean, I hope
definitely a little.
OU.
Yeah, I definitely hope he picks OU. Still a little bit nervous that he added the BYU trip because that thing wasn't something that was originally reported. It kind of seemed like a spur of the moment thing, which makes me think he's hesitant on both Oklahoma and Ole Miss. But we'll see. We'll see what plays out.
Yeah.
I think we're missing out on both of them, unfortunately.
Negative
Bert's going to be a Cougar
here.
and Trig's going to go to Ole Miss. I don't see him. I think if they split off, we're not getting him.
My gut's telling me is that Dart is not going to go to Ole Miss because that's the path of least resistance there because you just lost Corral. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out. So not a whole lot to report other than just waiting and seeing because they're just dragging this out. Okay, so a couple guys that we're very familiar with is Gentry Williams and Jayden Rowe. They're officially visiting this weekend. Obviously, Rowe has signed and he's a big time, addition. But Gentry Williams has been looming and he's been unsigned. And now that he's got Jay Valai on the roster or on the coaching staff, they seem to be really hitting it off. He's coming down for a official visit this weekend. He's from Booker T in Tulsa. And, it seems like he's been talking to Florida, maybe a little bit of USC. And I think we've all said that our gut's been telling us that he's going to go to Florida. But with him coming on campus and National Signing Day is just a few weeks away, this might lock him up. What do you think, Jose?
Yeah, I'm still not sure about him. I think every other time we talk about him, I just get less and less excited about him and more frustrated that this is still going on. And I think that's just my feelings overall with recruiting at this point. Recruiting in general just seems to be more of a pageant rather than these kids actually looking for a school that they fit into. But that's just an opinion that I'm sure not everyone shares. Hopefully Gentry likes his time at OU this time around with a completely new coaching staff. So it's really like his first time being on campus again, because it's completely different, different culture that's trying to be set up, different vision that these coaches have for Oklahoma and the defensive scheme where he could potentially fit in. So yeah, and maybe Jayden Rowe will ultimately sell him and coming with him.
See, I was very nervous, when he lined up these USC Florida visits. I thought we were going to lose him. But I think similar to what I said about Jaxson Dart, about why I'm nervous about Jaxson Dart scheduling that BYU visit kind of out of nowhere. It's the reason to be encouraged in this situation. I mean, clearly, if he's coming back again, he definitely has some interest. And Jay Valai is probably the hottest. Jay Valai, Brandon Hall, as we mentioned last video, probably the hottest two coaches we have right now on staff as far as getting kids to buy into whatever they're selling. And as you mentioned, Jayden Rowe being there as well could help. I'm leaning back towards feeling good about Gentry Williams to Oklahoma.
I agree with you. I think with him coming on campus, it's only a few weeks away before National Signing Day. I feel like they're going to lock him down, but maybe I'm just being hopeful. But I think the fact that he's coming on campus and not going anywhere else has to feel good. Yeah. If he's coming on campus with Rowe and maybe they're going to work on some of these uncommitted kids. And so to talk about some uncommitted kids, I know a while ago, it's probably been a month or so, We did a video about R. Mason Thomas. For anyone that doesn't know who he is, he's a 6'2", 215-pound kid from Fort Lauderdale in the 2022 class. He's an edge rusher. He's a 3-star, number 409 overall, and number 29 edge rusher. He was quickly offered after the new regime took over, and that was one of Chavis, or however you say his name, Miguel Chavis, first offers, one of his first anyway. And he's currently committed to Iowa State, and he's visited Kentucky recently, but he is coming to town, and it seems like while he's committed to Iowa State, it seems like he's really exploring his options, and he's been talking to, Kentucky and Miami. I know Miami just got an official visit scheduled next weekend. So it seems to be Kentucky, Miami, and Oklahoma for him, because Miami's the hometown. Brandon, what do you think about him?
I like all of the D-line depth that we can possibly get. I'll always say that over and over and over and over and over again. So in that regard, I'm excited for him. He's 6'2", 215, pretty good size there. I think the fact that his teammate Ahmad Moten's committed to us is going to help in this recruiting pitch. Ahmad
Moten's not committed just yet.
He's coming.
Yeah, well, I hope.
He's coming, dude. So we're gonna, I feel like, the idea of linking up with your teammates is gonna help, because you're right. He's not there yet, but I don't know. I feel like Ahmad Moten's almost a lock. Hopefully that goes well and we can land them both.
Yeah. Similar to what Brandon said, I think the fact that they're teammates and they're coming together is going to be a plus. They're going to get to kind of talk about everything. If someone has a doubt and the other one doesn't, they can probably talk them off the ledge, and kind of sell each other and buy in together into being part of the next chapter of Oklahoma football. And the fact that it's going to be Bates and Chavez, however you pronounce his last name, that's going to be probably a big impact in how they're going to consider Oklahoma, because I don't blame R. Mason for having second thoughts about going to Iowa State after this year. They had a pretty tough season after having such high expectations of potentially winning the Big 12. And then Matt Campbell is always rumored to be in the running for a big time program head coaching position. And even though he hasn't taken one, or I don't know if he's officially ever been offered a position, he still seems like he's interviewing. So a lot of, while it may not be certain doubt, there's definitely a lot of uncertainty and potential doubt moving forward. And, the 3 or 4 years he'll be at a university in Oklahoma, even though there was some turbulence there a couple months back, seems to be steady now. And, defensive line is really a position where you can really explode at Oklahoma now with the coaches that are in place now.
Yeah, no, that's 100% agree. And yeah, it just leads us into the next conversation that, obviously the next guy, it seems to be like a package deal, is Ahmad Moten, 6'3", 290. A huge guy on the defensive line. He's another 3-star, but still, he was one of the, first offers that they gave, this new coaching regime gave out, and there has to be a reasoning for it. I think they were probably looking at both these kids while they were at Clemson and never really offered them, or they didn't recruit them very hard. They're just, 290 in high school. He's going to be playing at over 300 pounds.
Freaky.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's what we talked about in the last video with, these D linemen, specifically D tackle, are just getting freakier and freakier. As the years, 6'3", 290 is a big human, and he probably moves pretty darn well too. I love that position. I'd be very happy if we can land that package deal of those two teammates, and make sure there's teammates at the next level too at OU.
That Todd Bates effect we've talked about a couple times now. It's hard to not want to at least hear his pitch as to why you should be with him at whatever university he's at.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So Moten has recently visited Tennessee. He's also visited Iowa State, obviously, because Thomas is committed there. He's visiting, or he just recently visited North Carolina. Then, obviously Thomas and Moten are visiting Oklahoma together this weekend, and they're visiting Miami this weekend, or the following weekend. Sorry. So they do seem to be a package deal. While they've taken a few visits on their own, they're taking them together. And it seems like they probably will go play together at the next level. And hopefully we can lock them both down. But I guess we won't find out probably till National Signing Day, I'm guessing,
When
since they've
Bates we
got a schedule.
trust.
Yeah.
This is kind of making me have flashbacks of the Gentry Williams and Chris McClellan recruiting from last summer, because they were taking every visit together until the end where Gentry committed to OU and Chris went to Florida. We don't know what these guys are going to do at the end of the day. It's the only people that know are them as individuals, but the expectation and what it looks like is they're going to be going wherever together. And hopefully it is Oklahoma, because they're going to be put in
Iowa State.
No, it will not be Iowa State.
Tell you that right now.
It's not going to be Iowa State. While Thomas says he's committed, there's no way he's staying. He's exploring his other options. Do you guys have anything to add before we move on to the next guy, and someone that's pretty exciting to get on campus is Gracen Halton. We haven't ever talked about him. He's committed to Oregon currently. He's a 6'3", 270-pound edge rusher in the 2022 class out of San Diego, California. He's a 4-star, number 263 overall, and number 32 defensive line. Obviously, he's been committed to Oregon for pretty much all of 2021, and then he probably was pretty locked in. And Cristobal left, and probably gave him a bad taste in his mouth, and obviously we're no stranger to that. And he is scheduled to visit Oklahoma this weekend. Again, he just got offered the end of last year, and now he's coming to visit real quick. And he's also got a visit, or he actually just officially visited Miami, because obviously it makes sense with Cristobal being there and trying to get him out there. But I feel like OU has a decent shot. Getting him on campus after he's visited Miami, I'd imagine he's another guy that isn't really locked in with the Ducks. He's exploring his options. I don't know where else he might be looking, but another Todd Bates, effect. Chavez or whatever you want to say it. Both these guys are recruiting like no other right now, and getting him on campus is huge. Jose, what do you think about getting him on campus? He's a huge kid. 6'3", 270.
It's definitely a plus. Like we've been saying, it's Todd Bates and Miguel just coming together and doing everything that they have to do to completely flip this line around, or the future of this defensive line around. Because like we've said, almost every time we end up talking about the defensive line, we're taking a big shift from going from that speed D concept of more slender guys, maybe a lot more lean that can move around a lot quicker, to trying to not give up that much speed and adding a lot of strength and size on top of it. So they're doing everything they can. It's going to be exciting to hear how he feels about Oklahoma after this weekend. But I honestly see this guy as the fact that he's coming as a plus because of Miami's and Cristobal's struggles and filling out their entire coaching staff. I'm not sure exactly how it's going on the defensive side of the ball. I was trying to do a little bit of research here a second ago to figure out how that defensive staff is filling out and down in Miami, but I know he has had some people turn him down for I think the one that came out most recently was the Arkansas offensive coordinator. Someone from Arkansas turned him down for the offensive
Kendall
coordinator
Briles.
position. Yeah. So, and I'm assuming that's probably consistent for a couple other places, because it's starting to become a story as if Cristobal may not have been the right person or the perfect person to be down there, which, only time will tell at this point. But if those struggles are reflecting on the defensive side of the ball, then having him hear out Todd Bates and Miguel is going to be big time, because then he can, he'll have a solid indication of where this defensive line and where Oklahoma's going, and compare that to Miami, and pretty much just see where he's going to fit in better.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Similar to R. Mason Thomas, this kid's not going to end up at Oregon. You don't do this if you're locked in. He's not going to Oregon. It's Mary Flipmas a month late. Because these kids they're leaving. Let's hope that Todd Bates and stuff can sell them on our program. At the end of the day, if it comes down to a Miami versus Oklahoma battle, I know he was originally committed to Cristobal and this, that, and whatnot, but Miami sucks. And I really think that is a factor that factors into these decisions. Why would you go play for Miami and go win 6 games? Granted, it's in Miami. It's a really cool campus. It's right by the beach and you got all that fun stuff. But like on the football field, you're garbage. You don't even have they don't have a stadium on their campus. They have to drive 20 minutes to Dolphin Stadium. Like it's not the place to play football. It's the place to. The only reason that you want to play football in Miami is if you're in the Orange Bowl and it's like a playoff game or something like that. Otherwise, you don't want to be a Dolphin. You don't want to be a Hurricane. You don't want any of that garbage. You go to Miami to have fun. You don't go to Miami to play football. He's coming to Oklahoma. Shut up, Hurricanes. You suck.
Speaking from a true Dolphins fan right there, you want to be a Dolphin.
I am a diehard Dolphins fan, but yeah, you don't want to be a Dolphin. No one wants to be a Dolphin. They have their first 2 good seasons in 20 years, and they fire the head coach. It's too much success. Get his ass out.
Oh, gosh, that's the truth. That is the truth. Oh gosh, I do agree. I think OU's got a great shot, and also it's closer to home in San Diego. I mean, it's only halfway across the country. Go to Norman.
Yeah, Seattle, Norman's pretty damn close. San Diego to Norman, it's all relative. They can carpool together. They can just, I don't know, they can figure it out.
They can meet up in Vegas, hang out there for a couple nights, and then make their way over to Norman.
Yeah.
Now that's kids. If you're watching, that's what you need to do.
Yeah. So so the next guy we'll talk about is Jamarrien Burt. He's a 6'1" athlete, 175-pound kid from Florida. He's in the 2022 class, and he's a 3-star as well. But he played receiver and cornerback for his high school. So a guy that can go both ways. I don't know what OU's recruiting him as, whether it's on the offense or defensive side. I'm guessing it's going to be defense. But he's planning on visiting. At one point, he was originally committed to Florida. He seems to be pretty good friends with Gibson and Nick Evers, and they seem to be closing him out, or at least trying to. And, he recently visited Utah. And I think one factor that we have to also think about is OU hiring Lee Davis from the Florida recruiting staff and having her come over. I would imagine they have a relationship, or she has a relationship with his family. That might pay some dividends with this kid. Brandon, what do you think?
Versatility. First thing that comes to mind. It's the most important thing when you're talking about this guy. As you mentioned, wide receiver, corner, got decent size, decent speed. It's again, like there's no roster limit on these, or there is, but it's not like an NFL roster where you need 53 players. If you can bring in these kids who have this versatility and size and speed, you absolutely take a chance on them and let them create competition throughout the roster. This kid can go create competition at corner or receiver. You absolutely try to bring kids like that, and I'm excited. I love all these kids that are coming in because they're considering us. So I'm a fan, but just to have that versatility and to have just him compete and push the starters if he's not going to start is bring them all. The more the merrier.
Yeah, I think so I went on his Twitter page after I couldn't find his senior year highlights, and he actually posted them on there, and it looked like he got moved over to safety or was flipping between corner and safety when he played on the defensive side of the ball. And that dude was making some big hits. Granted, it's high school football, and he's probably a lot bigger than a lot of the kids he's playing against, or at least, half of them. But he wasn't scared to put his helmet on their chest, and that's just kind of an important thing. When you're playing defense, can't be scared. Like I said, whenever we were talking about Trey Morrison last video, if you're on the defensive side of the ball and you're terrified to put your head down and just smoke someone, go play offense. And this guy does not have that scared mentality when he's playing defense. So it'll be interesting to see if it is the case that Evers and Gibson are really close, and potentially a couple of guys that can help them at least understand what Oklahoma is going to be in the next 2 or 3 years. Then, talk to him every single day until National Signing Day, so that when he has to make that decision, he's picking up the Oklahoma hat and not anyone else's.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, we've been having in the last 5 years or so, it seems like some people didn't like to tackle, and that's exactly what we need. And, Brandon, I do agree. You need versatility. If he doesn't start on defense and we need someone on offense.
Marshawn Lynch said it best when he said, run through a motherfucking face. That's what we need.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Schmitty and them are probably turning that, changing the culture to get that way. So another guy we'll talk about is someone that visited last weekend is Jackson Arnold, 6'1", 195-pound quarterback from Denton, Texas. He's a 2023 four-star, number 72 overall, and number 7 quarterback in the class. Visited OU last weekend, seemed to go really good. Steve Wiltfong from 247 entered in a crystal ball for OU today. And it seems like that this could move really fast. I say really fast. I don't know, maybe in the next few weeks to a month. That you never really know, but it seems like the visit went awesome. So I mean, this is a total different change in philosophy. They also offered Jayden Rashada. Rashada is a 6', 179-pound quarterback from Pittsburgh, California. He's 2023 four-star, number 41 overall, number 5 quarterback in the class. He's visiting Oregon this weekend. Lebby recruited him hard while he was at Ole Miss, so they've got that relationship. He seems to be interested in Oklahoma as well, and I think he wants to shut down his recruitment relatively soon as well. It seems like Rashada and Arnold are the two guys, and Rashada might be visiting sometime soon. So it's going to be first come, first serve, and this is totally different than the way Lincoln Riley ever recruited the quarterback position. I mean, we got the number 5 and number 7 quarterback. That's not too bad, and I know that they're going to be in on Arch Manning, but it is what it is. I mean, you can't turn a guy that's, a top 5 or top 7 quarterback. You can't tell him no because you hope for Arch Manning. Jose, what do you think about these two guys and their potential? And I mean, everyone was concerned that no one would want to play quarterback for Oklahoma as soon as Lincoln Riley left, and here we are.
Foolishness. People they don't know what they're talking about. But to talk about these guys, so last week, whenever it was, on Twitter that Jackson was visiting Oklahoma, there was a lot of people talking about how Arch Manning is overrated and this guy is significantly better. And, I mean, we don't want to just fall in love with the stars and only look at the stars. So I wanted to do a little bit of digging, and I've seen Arch Manning's, film before from 247. And I mean, it's impressive. People's biggest criticism about him is that he doesn't run or he can't run, which is not true. If you actually watch him play at the high school level, he's not afraid to run. He just doesn't seem to find the necessity to, if he can just throw it. And it's similar to Jackson Arnold. Jackson seems to have a much more accurate arm in regards to the deep ball, which is what I thought was really good. And I think he's a little bit bigger just in regards to weight, but about the same size. I mean, it'll be exciting to have him potentially be the quarterback of the future. And like you said, it is very different from how Lincoln recruited, because now we've got 3 quarterbacks we're looking at least, in Arnold, Jayden Rashada, and then Arch Manning. And it'll be interesting to see how they handle that situation. If Arnold does decide to commit, are they just going to shut it down for the other 2, or are they going to keep those scholarships available for him, especially a guy like Arch, who, even though that guy might get a lot of criticism, he's still the number 1 quarterback of that class. He's still a guy that's going to bring a lot of notoriety to Oklahoma because of his name, his family being football royalty. If he says, "Hey, Lubby, I would really like to be at Oklahoma," like, well, what are the chances here? Like, it'll just be interesting to see how they handle the quarterback recruiting moving forward, if any of the 3 decide to commit at any point to Oklahoma.
If Arch Manning decides to commit to Oklahoma, whoever we have on campus is going to leave at the end of the day. That he's the prize. He's the biggest haul you can get in the 23 class, not only at quarterback, but just the whole class. So if he makes it to come to Oklahoma, everybody's gone. Rashada is out of the 2 here is the preferred pick. In my opinion, I think he's just a little bit better. He's 5 or 7. Not that whatever, but as we mentioned off before we started recording, there's a good chance Arnold might commit this weekend. And that's never a bad thing, as you mentioned again, for him to land that number 7 quarterback in the class.
Yeah, I mean, it could be this weekend, could be next weekend. You never know. It could be really fast, or it could be a month. But I feel like they're going to shut it down quick. At least Arnold is. So we'll move on to the next topic, and this is just kind of a package deal. We mentioned, maybe we didn't mention, but Jayden Rowe is also visiting this weekend. And I think, he's 6'3", 210-pound kid, and he projects more as a linebacker or, some versatile, prospect for OU. And I think he's going to play as a recruiting role this coming weekend. And I think someone that he's going to recruit hard is Anthony Hill. And anyone that doesn't know about Anthony Hill, he's 6'2", 225-pound linebacker from Denton, Texas, 2023 5-star, number 10 overall, number 1 linebacker in the country. Extremely athletic. This is going to be his first visit, from my understanding, with OU. He's already been on, with A&M multiple times. But I think between Rowe and Hill, granted Rowe's not as high of an, rated guy, but they're both freakishly athletic, and they can relate to each other.
Jayden Rowe,
yeah,
Jayden Rowe is going to be, and you'll hear it first, everybody who's watching. Jayden Rowe is going to be the best recruit we got in the 22 class. You can take it to the bank. That kid is freaky. He's 6'3", 6'4", depending where you look at. My youngest brother has class with him. Sits next to him. He says he's every bit of 6'4". He's listed at 210, 215, depending again where you look at. I feel like he's going to be bulked up to 225, 230. But so he's 6'4", 215, 6'4", 220, depending on where he's going to get. He runs a 10.4 500 meter. So he can play corner / safety if you want him to. Dude, he's going to be Isaiah Simmons 2.0 with Brent Venables, and we all know what Isaiah Simmons did at Clemson. Jayden Rowe, man, that is going to be the best recruit of the 22 class. Take it to the bank. Anthony Hill, yeah, he's tight 5-star. Let's bring him into town. High school teammates with Billy Bowman, which is fun. Hopefully that helps in his recruiting. And I really do. I would love to lane Anthony Hill and add it to the deepest position on our team is that linebacker spot. But Jayden Rowe, that's the kid, man.
That's fair. We love athletes, that's for sure. Jose, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I think it's kind of early in Hill's recruitment. Like Brandon said, it would be super exciting to get him to commit. I just think there's still a lot of work to do. And hopefully he sees it like what Brandon said whenever we talked about Drew Sanders a week ago or a couple weeks ago. If you're a linebacker, why wouldn't you want to play under Brent Venables? You've seen what he can do with linebackers, and granted, he's not going to be your position coach, but I would bet that he's going to be pretty involved in how Roof is coaching the linebacker position, and it would be exciting to learn from one of the best coaches. But we'll see how the next. I don't know. We don't know whenever he's going to commit. I don't know if he's going to be an early signing day guy or a spring guy. But if it is a guy that's going to be in the fall, then I would bet that the coaches are going to do everything they can to make sure that this is not the last time that he visits Norman before November.
Yeah. I mean, I really think you can attribute this visit to Brent Venables and, all the coaching on this defensive side. It's huge to get a guy like him on campus. And I really feel like we actually have a shot this time compared to, the previous coaching regime. Another fantastic athlete is DJ Hicks, 6'4", 250 defensive lineman from Allen, Texas, 2023 5-star, number 5 overall, number 2 defensive lineman in the country. Great athlete. Todd Bates, Coach Venables. He's unofficially visited OU this past summer with the old coaching regime. He's been to A&M a couple times. And I'll say between Hicks and Hill, it's huge that they're visiting this weekend because they're not visiting Texas on their junior day. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know if it means
Texas sucks
anything.
too, just like Miami sucks. They all suck.
Yeah. So, I mean, getting a guy like Hicks and Hill, I mean, so many defensive linemen and defensive players are coming on campus this weekend. So many defensive linemen, and it's totally different than the last coaching regime. Getting Hicks and Hill and Moten and Thomas all on campus is huge. Jose, what do you think about, getting Hicks or anything else?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's huge. And I think not only is it Venables being at Oklahoma now, but it's in regard to Hicks, it's 100% because Todd Bates is now at Oklahoma as well. If we look at his 247 profile, Todd Bates was his lead recruiter when he was looking at Clemson, and now he's just moved closer to home. So not only is that going to work in Oklahoma's favor, but the fact that home is set relatively close. This one's actually a few hours away, not, half the country away. And they're going to be going to the SEC. So he's going to still get to compete against that big talent that he's probably wanting to do because, since it seems like he's leaning towards A&M. Now it's just going to seem, who's going to pay the guy more if that's something he values, because A&M's just dropping a bag for every recruit, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, that's garbage. But anytime you can get the number 5 kid in this class on campus, number 2 defensive line, that's special. He's obviously a kid that you want to put all the stops for. And as Jose mentioned, I'm just going to kind of reiterate it. Like, yeah, that's the Todd Bates effect again. Just because, I mean, Todd Bates was lead recruiter at Clemson. He was feeling Clemson. Hopefully Bates pulls out all the stops, does whatever he has to do, and that's a huge one. We definitely want him.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all that's visiting, or who's visiting this weekend. I don't know. There could be more, there could be less. It just depends. But this is just kind of something we've been looking at, and it's another big weekend leading up to National Signing Day. Yeah,
But
Brandon, do you have an end
keep us up on
challenge?
Twitter. We'll keep you updated. Yeah, for sure. This video, I feel like we had a good time with it. We're gonna comment Miami and Texas suck, or Miami sucks, or Texas sucks. Any variety of those 2 schools, and they suck.
Perfect. Are you gonna finish? Are you gonna finish the video?
No, I'll let you guys bring it home. Just don't let me down, because I brought it in the beginning.
All right, we're finishing this video. We're gonna hit the subscribe button if you hadn't already. Turn on the notification bell. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 2 Plain Sports, and see us on Spotify. We are going on Apple Podcasts as well. Be sure to follow us, because there's going to be a lot going on this weekend, obviously, and we're going to be tweeting like crazy. So we'll catch you next time and try to have a recap for this weekend. Thanks.